Many thanks for staying with us on the newsroom. I am Abisola Adebayo. There was mild commotion at the Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday morning when Ramatu Kyari, wife of the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police Abba Kyari, fainted and slumped. She slumped shortly after trial when Justice Emeka Nwite deferred ruling on applications that DCP Kyari and 6 other persons facing drug trafficking charge with him filed to be released on bail pending the determination of the case against them. The woman, who wore a black hijab, collapsed to the floor while armed operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) were leading Kyari and others out of the courtroom. She was, however, resuscitated about 40 minutes later. The Federal Ministry of Education has announced it will not enter into agreements with the Academic Staff Union of Universities (ASUU) under duress. The ministry spokesperson Ben Gong made this known while speaking to newsmen on Sunday. The ministry called on ASUU to call off its strike so that both parties will not have gunpoint negotiations and make promises that the federal government will not be able to fulfill. Meanwhile, the union has since extended the strike for another 8 weeks. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki has condemned Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State over his recent attack on the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shuaibu. Obaseki, in a statement, described Wike's outburst on Shuaibu as most unfortunate and totally uncalled for. Wike, while reacting to the crisis within the People's Democratic Party in Edo State, had publicly berated Shuaibu's political relevance, saying who is he to threaten the PDP with a defection. Obaseki, however, dismissed Wike's claims that Shuaibu threatened to leave the PDP, saying his deputy did not at any point threaten to leave the party. And in COVID cases, 17 million people in the Chinese tech hub of Shenzhen on Monday began their first full day of lockdown, with restrictions also imposed in Shanghai and other major cities in an effort to extinguish the biggest threat to the nation's zero-tolerance COVID strategy. The southern city took the measures as authorities battled an Omicron flare-up in factories and neighborhoods linked to nearby Hong Kong, which is recording scores of daily deaths as the virus runs rampant. Meanwhile, health officials have warned of tighter measures that it could be imposed as concerns mount over the resilience of China's zero-COVID approach in the face of the highly transmissible Omicron variant. Power generation companies have blamed the recent blackouts across the country on the weak infrastructure of transmission and distribution companies, which has rendered the quantum of electricity generation in Nigeria inconsequential. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of the Association of Power Generation Companies, Joy Ogaji, kicked against the position of the Transmission Company of Nigeria that the GENCOs were to blame for poor power supply nationwide. Ogaji further explained that capacity utilization in any market was often used as a measure of productive efficiency, adding that decisions about investment in power generating capacity were dependent on expected returns and costs. And on the foreign scene, Instagram was inaccessible in Russia on Monday after Moscow accused its parent company Meta of allowing calls for violence against Russians, including the military, on its platform. The move comes after Facebook and Twitter were blocked in early March as part of sweeping efforts by Moscow to control information available to Russians about its military operations in Ukraine. Instagram appeared on Monday on a list of restricted online resources on a list published by Russia's media regulator. Roman Abramovich has been disqualified as the director of Chelsea by the Premier League board after the British government sanctioned the Russian billionaire. Abramovich was one of the 7 more oligarchs sanctioned by the UK following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Meanwhile, the European champions have been placed under tough restrictions due to the sanctions on Abramovich. Now, Premier League chiefs have taken actions against Abramovich, who is described by the government as part of Russian President Vladimir Putin's inner circle, despite his denials of any association. But that's all we have for you in the newsroom at this time. Thank you for watching.